Okay, we're live and we're also going live on YouTube and LinkedIn. Hi everyone, good evening, good morning to all of you who's joining in right now. Welcome to yet another session. We're very excited to bring this session to you. It's slightly different from what we usually talk about. It's about something that's right around the corner for a lot of you, about performance appraisals and how you can navigate your appraisal and make sure you're prepared for the upcoming appraisal cycle, right? So I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions to ask, a lot of curiosity, a lot of eagerness to know what you should do. Are there really shortcuts? No, we're not going to be talking about shortcuts today, but just some actionable points, strategies for you, right? So before we start, quickly, just let me know your name and the city that you guys are from on the chat here, right? Yeah, just Sarabjit, hi, it's nice to see you in literally every webinar we host. It's amazing to see and to know that you're eager to learn. Patricia, hi. Swati from Pune. Okay, Godfrey from Dallas. Hi, good morning to you. So my name is Aparna. I'm going to be your host for today. And I'm streaming from Bangalore, Kalpana, Charmi from Canada, Jose from Peru. Okay, quick introductions. Let me see where others are from as well. Quickly, Joseph, okay. Daria, nice to have you. Okay. Samuel from Nigeria. Guys, quickly introduce yourselves. We'll get started with the session right after this. Mike, Alka, hi. Mirko from Namibia. Okay, people from different parts of the world today.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Nice to see you
actually,
from
Malawi, Apnir from Malawi. Yeah, if you guys have already introduced yourself, great. Anita from Nigeria. Okay, okay. So I'm sure all of you know, the agenda of today's session. Just a quick yes or no. Maybe I think we should do that after the poll here. So I'm just going to ask you very quickly about your work experience, and then comes my next question about your performance appraisal, and then we'll get started. Remember that you will be having a pop-up on your screen. Just use the pop-up and make sure you answer whichever seems the most relevant to you, right? How much experience do you carry? Yes. Less than 2, 2 to 5, 6 to 10, 10 to 20. Yes. Keep the responses coming. I'm just going to be ending the poll very, very quick. Okay. Yeah. Right. On the poll, Olivia and everyone else, Kalpana, on the Zoom poll. Yeah. Okay, great. So I think I'll just end the poll right here. And I'm also sharing these results with you, Prem, so you can check the audience.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So we have almost balanced.
Equal mix. Exactly. Exactly. So
That's wonderful. Yes.
yeah, so my question to you guys is, are you guys really nervous about your upcoming performance appraisal? Or, I mean, how do you feel usually around this time? Nervous, a yes or a no on the chat? Quickly, let me know. You feel you're really nervous about what's going to happen in your appraisal. Yeah? Are you? Okay, let's see. And make sure you interact with us on the chat. The session is going to be two-way, so unless you interact, you won't be able to take away learnings. Yes, Kalpana, thank you for your, not really. Okay, it's great. Some of you are nervous, not nervous. Okay, good. Okay. So the idea is to just help you with some strategies, some kind of techniques, some ways where you can kind of be in a position where you can leverage yourself, leverage your skills, all of that, right? So that's the agenda of today's session. And just some quick ground rules. Remember that this session is being recorded, so you will receive the link to the recording in a follow-up email tomorrow morning, right? And let's say you missed the session for some reason, you couldn't, hear something, do not worry, right? Just revisit the recording and then you'll know what you missed. Now, you may also have a lot of questions to ask because I'm also about to introduce Prem here to you. You may have a lot of questions to ask because we have a career coach with us, right? So you may have questions related to your career. Now, when you have such questions, make sure you use the Q&A box, okay? Now, what happens when you put questions on the chat box is that because we are interacting with you on the chat, just like all of the messages that we're getting, we might miss your question. So just so that this does not happen, you know what to do. Just head to the Q&A box and post whatever question you may want to ask related to your career. You may need advice, can just be concern, whatever it is, right? Or what to do next, can be anything. And I've kept the Q&A box public, so that everybody can see each other's questions. You can upvote someone's question, respond to someone's question. If you already see a question posted, you can see, okay, maybe wait for the question to be responded. So don't post your question again. If you've already done it, just wait till your question is answered. We'll make sure it's done towards the end of the session. Yeah. So in between, we'll be just checking in on you, trying to understand if you're with us, if you're able to follow what's going on. Yeah, right. So you know what to do. The session is being recorded. You know what to do when you have a question. Okay. Now, a lot of you may have a question about, okay, do I get a certificate on attending this webinar? Yes, you do. That also will collect names towards the end of the session. Yes. Now, these three questions are some of the most common questions that I get on the Q&A box. So I'm just trying to get rid of them and make sure you only post questions that you would want answers to, right? I'm getting your screen down to taskbar. I'm not sure what that means. We've still not started the session, Ajay. Yes. Okay, so let me introduce you to Simplilearn first before we talk about Prem. Simplilearn offers skills in various domains, various tech domains. We've got courses on AI, ML, generative AI, cybersecurity, software development, cloud computing, also some certifications, in project management and the other domains, right? So we'll take you through some of them towards the end. And right now, let me just talk about Prem Vas, who's been kind to us in accepting our request. Once again, we've done a webinar, with him a couple of months back as well. So he is a leadership, life, and a career coach. He is ICC accredited. He's an ICC accredited career coach. He is also an international author, visiting faculty at a lot of places. He's also the founder and CEO of Rehanjay Ventures, which he will talk about as well, as he introduces himself and towards the end. So Prem, I think I'll let you take over here and introduce yourself to our learners.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. And this is your performance review with expert strategies. So this is something which which is actually running in my blood, being the head of HR and chief of operations and the private-public partnership and all those roles that I did in 4 different industries. Performance was something that I was very keenly interested because when you work, when you work, uh, it has to get reflected in some kind of a metric. And people who do that in metrics are the ones who are slightly ahead of the rest of the people who believe that I've done my work and that's the end of it. So we'll talk about a little bit of how smart working happens and what does performance review add to that smart working that is going to happen with you, right? So this is about it. Vast topic, but I will try and cut down to essentials, practical points that you can imbibe when you do your performance appraisals and some tools that you need to use. So we'll talk about that and let's go straight to the next session. We have what to expect from this. We just did one portion of the audience poll, just a couple of questions more that I will seek from you. Performance management trends. We need to know that today where we are and about 15 years back where because we have people more than 20 years who've seen this transition. And then we'll talk about strategies for preparation of appraisal and then effective communication during the reviews. This is super important, and I'll tell you how to go about this. And then post-review strategies as to once the appraisal is done, it doesn't end there. How are you going to ensure the continuum? So that is where it is. And then 5 game-changing appraisal. This is what everyone is seeking today because 2025 somehow seems to be uh, a ballpark kind of a figure kind of for everybody's career because we just got out of a pandemic, we are moving into a global changes economically and all of that. So what are we going to do on appraisals there? Then finally, question answers and how I can help you in your career success along with Simplilearn. And then we will now go to the set of questions that we want to ask you to the poll, and I'll request Aparna to help me out with this. So we've done this already. So let's go to the next one. Yes.
Yeah, I think let's understand how would you rate? We did ask you this question about whether you're nervous or no, but how would you rate your experience with performance appraisal? Maybe if you could just answer that on the poll here.
Yeah, so I've given you a wide range, right from I'm fine with it to pure bliss.
Yes. So challenging, let's say you've not had a great experience yet. So
Okay.
a lot of learners feel that, oh, yeah, it's challenging sometimes. Sometimes
Yes.
it's okay. Let's see.
So here, since we don't know your name, you can go ahead and be honest.
Yeah. It's just going to be an anonymous poll.
Correct. So we have 30 seconds, isn't it, for the poll?
Yes,
Pandu?
yes. I think we can. I mean, some people start, they feel that they get missed out on these polls. So I'm just waiting for everyone to answer.
All right, sure,
But I
sure.
think, yeah, we will just end the poll right here. So guys, just make sure you finish it within 1 minute so that, you're proceeding ahead. Sharing these results, you should be able to see them on your screen.
Oh, okay. So we have almost 70% who says occasionally challenging and challenging most times, 70%.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it, is great. And then nobody, pure bliss, how come?
No one at all.
Nobody is finding it a blissful experience. Okay,
Not yet.
fine. All right. This is great. Thanks. Let's go ahead.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So it is for most of us occasionally challenging and challenging most times. So that's where we're going to address this. And we'll take you out so that you are going to be fine with it next time when we do this poll. You're going to say, I'm now fine with it, right? Okay. So let's now go to the next slide that we are going to do. and this is basically the agenda. Sorry, the disclaimer that is, I'm going to pitch my talk, most of it from the employee's perspective, not as an employee, although we will have some HR guys out here, but it is from the employee perspective predominantly. But you could use some of the information that I'm passing on for you to drive your the performance appraisals. And it's universally applicable because I'm very glad that we've got a lot of people from the foreign countries through here and a lot of countries. So therefore, it's what I'm going to share is universally applicable. Okay. And every appraisal is unique. I want you to understand this very much. Every appraisal, irrespective of whatever software your company is using or whatever kind of persons you're going to encounter with for your appraisal, every appraisal of yours is unique. You cannot set a benchmark by saying that appraisal was the best compared to. No, you cannot do that. That's what I meant by saying every appraisal is unique. And then all aspects we discuss will have a contrarian view because the topic is such. What I'm going to say is not going to be 100% acceptable to everyone. And this topic is like that. So view it from its applicability. How can you apply it to your context? That is how you got to see it. Okay. And then I might sound telegraphic because I want to push for time. So I might go fast. Should you feel that I'm too fast, just flag me down. And staying interactive helps understand the nuances. Please use the chat box, and I'll request Pranav to keep an eye there because I'll be focusing on the webinar. Okay, now let's take a look at some of these. I've actually picked up about 5 outdated versus modern methods on performance management. I want you to understand this because there has been a transition, and I've been a witness to that transition. So that's why I'm sharing this. So this comes with a lot of expertise and a lot of experience that also comes with it. Okay. The first is that earlier we used to have annual reviews. I believe some companies still have them, but now people have moved to half yearly or even quarterly. Some even goes monthly, and few others are even weekly. Okay. And therefore now it is more of a continuous feedback and check-ins. And some of the tools that can be used is Lattice, 15.5, Office Vibe. You can take screenshots of this, or when you get the presentation, I'll be sharing it. You can go and find out what these tools are. How are they going to be useful? If you're in the HR and if you're present in this presentation, please make use of them. It's very, very useful in giving employees continuous feedback and a check-in. Okay. So these are the tools that I picked up for you. The next point on the outdated versus modern method is the forced bell curve. I'm not sure how many still use the bell curve. The top 10%, the bottom 10%, the middle 80%. It creates a lot of negativity, by the way, in the organization. A lot of people who want to be comfortable using it are okay with it, but the employees are not really happy with it. It's created a toxic culture. So therefore, the modern methods is more of a personalized growth path. Each individual, your own KRAs, your own KPIs, your own individual development paths. If these are the methods that are used to get your appraisals going, then you're into the modern methods, personalized growth paths, right? So you may not be having a choice if the company is using a forced bell curve. But the point is you have an ability to converse with your bosses, converse with your HR to tell them personalized growth plans are something which is far more effective in a performance management trend. Then comes the earliest ones is it was only manager who reviews you, right? And there have been multiple cases of very strong biases which the manager brings. He's a human being or she's a human being, but they bring a lot of biases because it could be the recency bias. They might forget what you did so well few months back and suddenly something goes wrong. Maybe you're not even responsible for it, but they remember that. Okay, so that is the recency bias that comes into their reviews when they do that. So the best way to avoid that is to have a regular quarterly or a half yearly feedback system that you have for your appraisal. And we have something called the 360 degrees and the 720 degrees. In case some of you have not heard about it, the earlier one where it used to be only manager was 0 degrees because the manager, he or she said what they want to say. But then came something called 180 degrees. Again, that's become slightly outdated. So 180 degrees means your manager has his or her views about you, and you also share what you think about your own performance. So that used to be called 180 degrees. So people found even that was restrictive, and therefore they went into 360 degrees feedback. So 360 means, your colleagues, your peers, your direct reports, your skip reports, they form a set and they all, you know, appraise you on a particular tool. And some of these tools are, which I've already given it to you, called Culture Amp, Lighthouse, Conferry, Wire People. So these are the tools that they use for obtaining this 360 degrees. And it's very independent in the sense that it's not driven by the company, it's driven by outside agency. So there is a lot of authenticity there, and that gives you a feedback. Now, here what happens, there have been cases after research which tells that at least 45% of biases have been removed because of 360 degrees feedback, right? Because if your manager is biased, because of your peers, because of your other people who are part of the 360 degrees, you get a more balanced review about yourself. Okay. So you also, of course, review yourself on that. So you know where you stand versus how people think about you, about your performance. That is the best part of it. Now, 720 goes a step further. It goes where your stakeholders also assess you for your performance, which means your vendors, your customers. So this is a little more advanced level of an appraisal. And there is a lot of maturity that is required when you're doing this 360 as well as 720, but that's even more wholesome. I'm not sure how many companies do it, but these are the three tools that normally are used for 720: Glint, Qualtrics, and Achieve. It is IT, it's not LT. So these are the tools that can be used for it. This is just to give you an information about what kind of tools are available. Some of you may be already using it. The 720, some of these tools can also be a 360. They can use in that sense also. Then this point comes about the appraisals in the past. It focuses on what you have done already. Okay, so your manager talks about what you have done, where have you gone right, where have you gone wrong. So it's all on the past. Whereas the current trend is on the future skill development, which means that how can you perform better? How can you be there to, we've seen a lot of companies getting disrupted. Suddenly you found, Deep Shark coming and displacing ChatGPT almost. But why is that happening is because if people are future looking, then these things will be less disruptive. So they want the employees to look into future, be ready to take on the future challenges. So that is future skill development, and that kind of assessment or appraisal is what is the latest trend. Almost 70 companies today integrate learning and development in the performances. How many of you agree with this? Is this what are you? I just want to, just a quick chat, want to tell me how many of you are into future skill development? Just say yes. And if you're again on the focusing on the past, just say no. I just want to see in the chat how is it going? Just quickly, if you can just put on the chat.
A lot of them, yeah.
A whole lot of them. That's wonderful. It's very good to see that so that the fact that research says that 70% companies integrate L&D, that's an amazing thing. So we are already there. Glad to see that. And thank you so much for that response. So let's go to the next one. So this is earlier, it used to be compensation based. So you used to be appraised and it used to be linked to your compensation. You used to get a promotion or you used to get your incentives or your bonus, and all that used to be linked based on your appraisal. Now it's some companies are smart enough to have made that distinction. Salary discussion is separate, from performance reviews. A very wise move. Okay, so this has resulted in growth-oriented reviews. They want to know, how are you planning to grow? You get appraised for what's your plans to grow? How are you upskilling yourself? Where are you in terms of facing the future? So this is growth-oriented reviews. Even if your company is not focusing like that, you should start doing it. And in your appraisals with your bosses, you must tell them as to how you're looking into the future. What are you doing to upskill yourselves to be able to take on the challenges which your business, your company's business is going to face, right? So 50% more retention was observed in companies who moved into growth-oriented reviews and not just based on compensation, right? Can we quickly have from you, how many of you are on the growth-oriented ones, or how many of you are still on the compensation? If you're on the compensation base, just right now. Let's have a quick run on your answers there. Let's see that. A quick Y, or you don't have to type yes full, just type a Y or an N. That's good enough. How many of you are already on the growth-oriented Ys? Oh, good. All right. Yeah, getting more of Y. Yeah. Good. So we have a few of N, right? That's fine. But those who are typing in N, here is a reason for you based on this webinar for you to take your conversations with your appraisals team to tell them that where you would like to be more progressive. And and you start applying it. Even if the company is not changed, you start applying it. Great. Thanks a lot for that response. Now let's go to the next portion of what we are looking at. What are the strategies that you need to do for appraisals? Okay, now in this, the first one that you must do is you have to document and present your achievements. Most of us, what we do, we go and fill up a form at the end of the appraisal period. In case if your appraisals will say quarterly or half yearly, it's fine. But if it's annual, you go and do it in the last, you tend to forget some things that you've done earlier and all of that. Base your documentation on what you have achieved throughout the year. Even if it is a quarterly review, please log it somewhere, right? Harvard Business Review has gone ahead and done a research in which they say 40%, okay? 40% of the employees have done well for themselves because they documented their achievements, their progress, their areas of development. They've documented it. 40%, that's a good number. So therefore, don't be part of the 60%, be part of the 40%. And there's something called Vince Journal. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about it. A Vince Journal is just a piece of notebook or even your Word file that you are using on your laptop or your computer, where you write whatever you've done well. Put some metrics to it in terms of percentages, in terms of increase, decrease, in terms of cost. What have you done? And that is your win journal, what you've done for yourself. This is very handy when you're going to have a conversations with your appraisal boss, whoever it is, right? Then, of course, OKRs, right? KRAs, KPIs, if they have been given to you, make sure that you are logging onto it every quarter, at least every quarter, if not every month, right? And objective and key results are OKRs for some of you who are not familiar with that. And then the business impact. This is super important. The smart ones, they always bring out their good points or what they have done vis-a-vis how it's helping the business.
Yeah.
Even if you're in a cost center, right? You may not be the revenue center of the company. You may be a cost center, let's say administration or security or logistics or something like that. But still, you can still add how did you contribute to the business impact? If the business impact is asking for 10% reduction in cost, how is your contribution helping in that 10%? It may not be exactly the 10% which the company's figures are, but you would have done something from last year to the current year and where you have gone beyond 10% in reducing cost. You see that business impact? So bring that out. That is what I meant by business impact. And we heard about STAR technique being used only for interviews.
Yes.
Use STAR technique when you do your performance appraisals.
Mm.
Give them a situation, tell them how you found out what the task was required, and then tell them what actions you took, and therefore this was the result. Use STAR technique in your conversations. Not more than 30, 40 seconds, you can bring out your stories. And STAR technique is a very, very helpful way to bring out your stories of your success, or even areas that you want to develop. What was the situation? What was the challenge? What did you do to attempt that challenge? And what were the learnings that you feel that you can apply them in case if it comes again in the future? That story you must have. Okay. More of it a little later. Keep a record of all of these accomplishments. You can use Excel sheets, Google Sheets. There are softwares like Notion. Then you get use Notion. Notion has got it's an excellent tool. It's got various blocks. If you've not used it, you can use it, and it's very cheap. It's not very expensive. It's about, I think, $10 or something like that per employee per year. Sorry, per month for paid annually. You can have a conversation with your HR for that. So in that, you can very easily do it, and it's got its own dynamics. It can display your progress and everything very, very fluidly. Client appreciations, you must have got an email from a client for having done a great job. Make sure that that's part of your appraisal, right? Compliments, somebody has complimented you, somebody spoke high about you in some a stand-up meeting or something like that. Note it, thank that person as an email, thank that person for recognizing it. Use that as an evidence for your wins. So these kind of smart application, you're not blowing a trumpet. You're not blowing a trumpet. You are actually recording what you actually did. And you're going to use that to tell the people that this is the truth of what I've done. That's it. Okay. So keep a record of accomplishments and link your contributions to the goals. How did your goal? I already touched this in the earlier ones. How did you achieve whatever you did? How is it linked to the business goal, the vision of the company, the objective of the company? Your small little role, how did it help? Okay. The CSAT is customer satisfaction reviews.
Yes.
You have those NPS, net promoter scores. Use all of that in your base. So as you're looking at all of this, it appears there's a lot of hard work involved in this. Believe me, if you're going to work in a company for 8 hours a day, I'm just giving for example, if you're going to work for 8 hours a day, it's worth it that at the end of the week, if you're devoting just about half an hour trying to consolidate what were your wins during the week and what are the areas that you can accomplish better things. That 15 minutes to half an hour is well worth it. You never know how it is when it comes to appraisal. Okay. As a head of HR, I always, without realizing it, all those employees who came and told me about what they did and in a very structured presentation, those guys, without even me telling it, I mean, I use those figures from them, take it to the business team and tell them, hey, look at this guy has done this. And look at this. This is what they have achieved. It is without conversation, they say, okay, he deserves the next bonus or the next higher percentage. This is the advantage of recording your accomplishments. Okay, you don't have to speak. Your presentation speaks. Use quantifiable data, your achievements, put them in some kind of a metrics and timetable. The best part about metrics is you can always put that approximate sign just before that so that you get covered. You can't be very accurate sometimes. You might even not remember it. Just put that approximate. I increased profits by 10%. Put that approximate sign before that. Right? That gets covered for you. And then in 2 months, in say 3 months or half a year, whatever you want to say, achievement, metric, timeline. In one sentence, you have said what you're capable of. So that is the formula that you need to use when you present your quantifiable data. Okay. So the storytelling part of it, it is amazing that people listen to stories than statement of facts. I mean, you ask anybody. I would love to listen to stories rather than just saying this one particular slide. But if I'm going to tell them, this was a challenge and I achieved this 8%, within 1 week, whereas you should have taken at least a month. You see the story? I would love to listen to that rather than a statement on a slide, right? So your challenge, what was the solution, and how did you create that impact? Have your stories for every thing that you did in about 30 to 45 seconds. Practice this in front of a mirror, how you're saying it. Your body language matters a lot. You see, what you are doing in interviews is carrying forward throughout your career. So
Yeah.
when you go for right, Aparna, when you go for an interview next time, you don't need to practice. You know what to say and how to say it. So
Yes.
this is the amazing part of doing the STAR technique of using it in your appraisals. Okay, do your storytelling. And another thing about storytelling. Don't imagine that you're a shy person, you are an introvert, therefore your stories will not fall. Anything which comes from your heart is an amazing story to listen. Anything, whether an extrovert or an introvert, if you say honestly from your heart what you did, that is a story which anybody will listen. Anybody, right up. Okay. So now comes to the little portion of how do you effectively communicate. We talked about what actions you have done so far, right? Are we going okay? Just give me a quick why or a quick N. If you're fine with what we are going at so far, I would love to see that on your chat. A quick whys and quick. How's it going? Oh yes. Okay. Great. Wonderful. So let
I
me
think
keep
just
going on
to,
this.
yeah, just to
Wonderful.
add to, what you said, if
Yes.
you could just go back to your slide, which said
Let
about,
this
um,
one.
yeah, yeah, so the previous
Sorry.
one,
You're
basically.
talking about this one?
Linking, yeah, the linking your contributions to company's goal, making sure that, we have a KPI which we're working towards. And you also said that it's also important that we quantify what we do rather than just saying it, in terms of statements. And also you mentioned business impact, right? So these are great points and you also mentioned, even though you're a cost center or revenue center, so maybe if you could just break that down a bit, because some learners may not entirely understand what a cost center is or what a revenue center is. If you could just only explain that, and then, we can move ahead.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So thanks a lot, Aparna, for that. Okay, pointing that out. Okay, so uh, a cost center is so a company, broadly speaking, the whole of the company you can divide into two aspects: the cost center and the revenue center.
Yeah.
So the revenue is what the company earns as revenue. So the marketing guys, the sales guys,
Mhm.
the finance guys. So they are the ones, because of the investment for the companies, they earn revenue. That market capitalization, which you must have heard the term, that talks about what revenues the company earns. So those are called the revenue centers, right? And you're even now the cost centers are, like, for instance, the administration. They actually run things for you, but it is actually a cost to the company, because that is one. The salaries that is being paid, that comes as part of the HR is a cost center, or some portion of the HR can also be a revenue center.
Revenue center, yeah.
Yeah, so there are some portions of HR which is a revenue center, and then you have the logistics guys, then you have the security. So these are all cost centers. So the cost centers are necessary. If you want to achieve amazing revenue, you need these cost centers to support that revenue to come in. So
Yeah.
that is what it is. So some companies have a wider ratio of costs of the cost center, and some companies have an amazing revenue. So it's not that they are good or bad. It is a right mix that a company needs to run its business. So each business has its different ratios of a cost center and a revenue center. Aparna, am I okay with this? Or can we
Yes.
ask people, are they clear with it? A quick why or
Yeah, yeah. I think, are you guys clear on what he meant by these things? Because I think this slide pretty much summarizes how one should approach, their appraisal review. Because a lot of people always, this is also from the employer's point of view, or not just from the employee's point of view, but this is exactly what an employer would look for. I mean, if these points are addressed, I think we're pretty much sorted. And of course, communication, yes. But are you guys clear? Just a thumbs up would help before we proceed.
yeah, that'd be great. Yes.
Yeah, just a quick thumbs up. because
They must be searching
each
where do I
point was
find it.
just unraveling, a lot of insight. So I just was like, okay, are the learners really following here because they need to? This is the most important thing. Yes. Okay. Amazing. Everyone else. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Take a screenshot of this slide. These are review strategies, which I spent a lot of time for this presentation. Okay, I put myself in the shoes of an employee before I created this. So,
I think there's
uh,
just one more point. I think people would, if you can just click on next, there's one more point. The one on, forgot.
is it on the chat?
No, no, no. On your slide, there's just one more point after this that you said.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one.
Now you can take a
Yeah,
screenshot.
take a screenshot
Storytelling, I
now.
think, is equally important, along with listing down your achievements, documenting your goals, and also your accomplishments, of course.
Okay, so while they're taking this screenshot, I'll quickly address a question which Lydia has got. She's talking about how can we get impact to the business when we don't have this information.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you don't have this information, it's probably because you may not have asked for it so far. So I believe you must ask, your finance guys are the ones who can give you that information. Please do ask, and they will be able to tell you how what is the business impact and how are you your contribution may be very small, but it's little drops of water that make a mighty ocean. So therefore, you must do how are you able to contribute to it is something that is you can do it. Please seek for that information. You will definitely get it. Maybe you don't have it because you haven't asked for it. Okay, wonderful. And can we go ahead?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
All right. So effective communication, this is something that is very important. And my first point was active listening. Now, where active listening is, I'll just give you an example when I say you must paraphrase this when you go for your appraisal. Now, we're talking about effective communications during appraisal reviews. Okay, clear on that? It's only during appraisal reviews I'm talking about how do you do effective communication. First and foremost, you see this, I have struck off defensive. I wrote it in red and I struck it off. What I
Yes.
meant was do not be defensive when your appraisal manager or your boss or your supervisor is telling you something that you don't want to agree with. Don't justify it. Just listen to it. Just listen. And how do you paraphrase it? So if they say that, okay, you were not very great when you were connecting with that particular client. So you don't say, no, 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 I'm not like that. That's not the way. That is being defensive. You need to ask them, oh yes, can I understand more of it? How do you see it? And what can I do to do it better next time? That is paraphrasing that question. And that is probing deeper. Okay, so you're asking your employer, how does he or she want you to respond to similar situations going forward? Okay, if they say that your Excel skills are not great, you're making too many mistakes on it, ask them, oh great, if you could share some instances where I can improve upon it and how can I go about, can I do an Excel course within next 3 months? No, you're being very positive. You are doing active listening to see how you can do your appraisal in a way that is going to be a win-win for you, win-win for your supervisor or your manager and the company because you're improving. But if you're going to be defensive and say, no, no, you're wrong, I'm right, and all that, that's not going to work. It's not going to help anyone in any case. That's what I meant. And Deloitte did a research in which they said that 35% of the workplace collaboration improved when the employees actively listened to the appraisals. Okay, this is a good input for you to understand. And then the next point that I want to talk is turning feedback into an action. You know, when somebody tells you a feedback, it's always a good idea to just take that feedback, right? And see how much of it is applicable to you. It's not very easy, I admit. It's not so easy, but let's try and see from where is it coming from. Why is that person giving you that feedback? Right? So if you're able to appreciate that and you're able to commit a SMART goal, SMART goal, I hope everybody knows it, right? Specific, measurable, actionable, and which can be achieved or it's actionable and result oriented and it's got results and it's got time. So that's what is SMART goals. Please Google it up if you want to know more about it. And Satya Nadella, he mentioned that the employees who grew well in these organizations are the ones who took the feedback and turned it into action. Okay, and when they turn it into action, it's not that they keep it to themselves. They go and tell their supervisors or their bosses that what action they have done to improve themselves. Okay, so that is what turning feedback into action. You must think of doing this next time when you're going around it. Balance confidence with humility. Now, this is an art. It's not purely science, it's an art. If you're able to tell them of what you've done, and that is, you're going to tell them in terms of facts, in terms of story, and you go to tell them how your team was also able to achieve it, although it's not entirely you're doing. So you're telling them how you collaborate as a team. Indra Nui did this very much in her book. Okay. So Indra Nui's book is that book you must read. She's been very good at explaining as to how you should balance confidence and humility. Okay, does anyone know which is this book I'm talking about in Indra Nui? Can you just type it out there if you can share it in the chat? Which is this book that Indra Nui is talking about? She's written just one book and an amazing book. Someone?
Let me
Not
actually look it up and
Okay, is anybody not familiar with that book? Okay, here is a task for you. Go ahead, Google it, find out which is this book of Indra Nui. I'm not going to share this. Okay, find out which book is this, read it. It's an amazing book from her. And she is, PepsiCo, one of the toughest companies. And she headed that company and she balanced her work-life balance so amazingly in that book. She's given enough and more stories in that. Please do read it and it will help you a lot. Okay.
yeah.
Now, next, what we are talking about is highlight your growth areas with metrics and do it positively. Sometimes in the appraisal, I've heard people say, "Sir, I'm very bad at, at figures. I don't understand figures." Or some people will say that I'm very poor at time management. Avoid bringing out these kind of statements in your appraisal. Okay, every one of us are human beings, so therefore we will have something to improve. I never use the word weakness in human beings. There is never something called weakness. It's always an area that we can improve. So therefore, if your boss points out to you some area which is an area of concern, please agree on how we can improve it and how you can add value to that. Okay, so use tools and techniques. 135 is a very good tool for you to get your time management in place. I use it today. Even today, I use it. If I want to focus on writing something, I use that 135 to-do list tool. Go to internet, find out more about it. Trello, for all the clients that I use Trello. It's an amazing tool to get hold of all the information that you want from your clients, from your input, from everything. Then we are talking about post-review strategies. So we're now going to talk about what happens after all your review is done. The matter doesn't close. It's not that you walked out of the room or you finished or shut down your, the interactive meeting. It's not that. There are some things that you need to do post-review. And that is, the first thing is create a follow-up timeline. Okay. So Netflix has got a very good thing. They have a follow-up action plans for everything that they do. Okay, so read more about them. There are videos also about that. So please go and take a look at that. Collaborate on realistic goals. I've used the word realistic goals. I didn't just say collaborate on goals. I said realistic goals. Now, these are goals that you have to achieve. And remember, I also said 3 to 5 SMART goals. Because if you have goals beyond 5, believe me, you are not likely to achieve all of them. Because to stay focused, some of the top companies, for every individual, they have 3 to 5 SMART goals. Anything beyond that, you will fail. Or you will be doing all of them half-heartedly, or there'll be half achievements of those. So have very clear 3 to 5 goals and work on them. You will be doing amazingly well. Okay. Track and update progress continuously. It could be weekly, In some cases, it could be daily, some cases it could be monthly, some cases it could be, but do spend time. Okay, whatever is comfortable for you, whatever is your task role, whatever is your job requirements, whatever is your reports that you need to give, based on that, decide whether it is with your boss, of course, decide whether it should be weekly, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, whatever it is. Okay, and use these tools, Notion, Asana, Trello. You know, there's something called this monthly, weekly 10-minute check-ins. This is very important. I do that for my HR team. We just don't speak more than 10 minutes. We just say, okay, quickly let us, how did this week go? Or how did this month go? Okay, what are the areas that you did well? Just give me 3 areas you did well. Okay, what are the 2 areas that we could have done better? That's it. 10 minutes conversations and action plan closed. And we follow it up with an email so that next month when we do after it, we are able to review it. So check-in Fridays is something which Google does. They check in to see how their reviews, how the employees are. And that's a very good dipstick kind of a way of doing things, check-in Fridays, right? Now, the last portion of our presentation is on these 5 game-changing tips. Before we go to these game-changing tips, are you guys fine with what we have shared so far? Can a quick yes or no? If you have not, or if you got doubts, please put them in the Q&A. We will handle them in the Q&A. A quick Y, or N will be good enough for us.
I'm sure you might have questions related to.
Yeah, definitely. I'm
Yeah, of
sure. I'm
course.
aware of
Please
that.
make sure you use the Q&A box, or maybe you are waiting till the end to,
Put that.
hear him out completely, I think. But
Okay.
yeah, because each slide I think covered, all aspects of it beautifully. So, but if you do have questions, please use the Q&A box and we'll address them, in some time. Yes. Yeah, I think most of you are
Okay. So
here.
we have 5 game-changing tips, and so build a personal impact portfolio. You remember I was talking about that we have that Win journal, Notion, Trello, these tools, use these tools. They save you a lot of time and they are very good at consolidating at the end of it. Okay. Always use before. See, when you take over a new position, when you go to a new company, when you change your jobs, first find out how was the situation before you took over. Have about 4 or 5 slides on that. Okay, what was the condition then? And then as you keep moving in this current job, quarter on quarter or year on year, how did you make the difference? This before and after charts, graphs, they are very, very compelling. You don't have to speak a word. This graph speaks for themselves. And your managers are very proud when they see this on a visual scale. Then there is no argument. There is no biases there. It is clear, black and white. And that is something which they will also use to project you to take you up to the next level. So use that. Next is adopt a CEO's mindset. Now you'll be wondering, I'm just one of those, M11, M5 or F11, or these are the guys. Why should I think like a CEO? Remember, every person, including the janitor in the company, if he or she thinks that their job is CEO's job, they do an amazing job automatically. It comes as a second nature. It comes as a body language. It reflects in whatever they do, and that's always amazing. So adopt a CEO mindset in which your contribution to the revenue, if it is a revenue center, your contribution to the cost, if you're a cost center, customer satisfaction, if you are into the customer care, or if you're into that, what are the NPS scores that you can collect and see where you stand? How did you improve from the previous order to the next one? What innovations have you been able to do if you're in the product line, if you're in the manufacturing, or if you're in the service also? What innovations have you done to improve the service, or the product? That is a CEO mindset. So this is not hard work. This actually keeps you happy. Earlier, when in my earlier career days, I used to just come and work just for the salary that I'm getting. Believe me, a lot of frustration. But later on, towards the mid-career, when I moved into it, when I started taking ownership, when I started taking commitment to what I have done, the happiness and the work output productivity just multiplied. Because there are concrete actions and there are win-win situations. So therefore, adopt a CEO mindset. Take this with lot of thought in this appraisal. Believe me, without even you saying it, your bosses, your supervisors will know that you are a class apart from rest of the gang because of your CEO mindset. Use AI and data for performance tracking. Numbers don't lie. I'm sharing this here. Numbers cannot lie, and you have them to prove it. So you speak less when the numbers are there, flash on a slide when your appraisal is going on, right? So use these tools like BI, Google Analytics, slicers, dashboards, refine the content using AI. When I say AI refining, let's say you don't want to make a mistake, you don't want to have grammatical mistakes and all that. So use ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever you want to use, Gemini, whatever you want to use, make sure your presentation is good. A lot of companies are against using AI. It's only because you're not applying a thought to it. That's the reason. That's why they are against it. But if you apply your mind and you are coming as the human element is over it, and you're using all these AI to make your work more effective, that is the requirement that you have to keep in mind. Don't allow it to replace you in your thought process, in your human element. Okay. And future proof with upskilling. Remember, replace that past performance with future ready. You know, every job today, there is always something new to learn. Every job, every job. So you need to find out what is that and start upskilling yourself, even if your company or your team is not talking about it. You do it, and then you talk about it in the meetings, talk about it to your boss, have it on the coffee table, or when you're at the canteen, speak about it, let people know. Slowly and slowly create a brand for yourself. That is a winning appraisal. Your appraisal is not restricted to that conversation about 40 minutes or 1 hour. This is an appraisal that's going throughout the year. And that appraisal, which happens throughout the year, because of your branding, because you are expressing what you've done in very true terms. You're not exaggerating, you're not bluffing, you are telling actually in facts what you're doing. That is a continuous appraisal which looks into you today and tomorrow. Okay, so be a brand ambassador. I wanted to finish this slide with this particular thing because this again is this is an established fact that promotions often go to those people who follow the 3 V's. How you make yourself visible to your team, to your bosses, to the stakeholders, to everybody. How valuable are you to them? What are you adding value to your job? How are you adding value? That is a valuable portion of it. And the third is vocal. You have to speak what you're doing, speak during meetings, speak. And this excuses of I'm an introvert, so I don't speak, I'm very shy. All that is just excuse. A shy person can make that person very, very visible in just speaking 5, 6 words during the meeting. Something very relevant, something hard hitting, just in those 5, 6 words. So therefore, don't go behind these excuses that I'm afraid of talking in front of public. They're all excuses. Be your own brand ambassador. Be yourself. You will automatically gain the confidence. So these are the 5 game-changing tips that is very important for you in your appraisals. Okay, so takeaways: prepare and document achievements proactively, communicate with confidence, storytelling, data, and use feedback to drive career professions. Stand out by aligning goals with business and appraisals. 2025 appraisal should have continuous learning, personalized feedback, and align the your employee and the company's goals. This is what is very important. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to share with you, and
Yes.
final thought.
Pooja wants, I think after this.
Yeah, this is it. Your review isn't about past performance, it's a step towards future career growth. So
Yeah.
I'm done with this. Let's go to the Q&A, uh, and there are some amazing stuff that even Aparna wants to share. So while she's sharing it, can we have the Q&A? You can put it into your Q&A. We will take it immediately after that.
Yeah. So Prem, before actually we proceed, Pooja, I
Mhm.
think, wants to take a screenshot of the earlier slide. Yeah, she wanted a screenshot of um, the key takeaways, basically. Yes.
Yeah, this is key takeaways. Okay.
Yes.
While
Yes.
Pooja is doing it, let me also take a screenshot of.
Oh, before this one? Okay.
Okay, before this one also, fair enough.
Um, which
This
one?
one, game changing.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it.
Game-changing tips. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I think to start with, it's about your mindset, of course, how you communicate, and obviously, the job that you do, it has to kind of fit all of these factors, and that's how. Yeah, so don't worry about it, guys. Don't worry about the screenshots too much. We will share the recording with you. Yes. And that way you should be able to revisit all that we just mentioned. Okay. Now let's just look at some Q&A, Prem. We also have
Sure.
audience on LinkedIn. So I'm just going to be seeing if there are questions here. Guys, if you have questions, please use the live chat. Okay. So some valid questions that I was expecting when you were talking about the initial points about how you should document your work and all of that. So one question we have here is, how do you react if your higher manager is not responsible with their duty? How does one handle that?
So, if I understand the question correct, how if the higher manager is not able to understand your duty or his own duty, what
His
is it?
his or her own duty. What what do they do?
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Very interesting situation there. Okay, so if you have a situation like that where they are not able to understand what your duty is, right? So you need to, you don't have to wait for appraisal to do that.
Hmm.
See, the appraisal is successful when the expectations of your boss and the expectations of yourself of what you're required to do when they both meet.
Yeah.
In the instance when they don't meet, that is where an appraisal becomes challenging.
Yeah.
Where your expectation of how you have to deliver the job is not equal to the what the boss is expecting you to deliver.
Yes.
That is where it becomes challenging. So therefore, get your expectations right as soon as possible.
Hmm.
Whatever appraisal has gone by, it's okay, but have a fresh conversation with your boss.
Yes.
Boss, let us understand where we want to go from here. That's how you start.
So maybe have an honest conversation. Is that what you're
Yes.
suggesting to
We must
start
we
with?
must
Yeah.
understand, okay, what is your expectation from me?
Hmm.
So you have a job description, right? Everybody's got a job
Yes.
description. So
Yes.
get on the job description, ask them that what are you looking for in this job description? And what are the areas that you want me to focus on specifically? Because
Hmm.
you've seen me the last 1 year or 6 months or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or if you're joining for a job afresh, ask them, what are you looking for in this one? Is there anything that is not there in the job description that you still want me to deliver? What is it?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Set the expectations right, follow it up with an email, put some metrics if possible in the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatever you're going to achieve, then you're good to go.
Yes. Okay. So another question we have is, okay, what if there are budget constraints for new ideas to implement? Okay, I think maybe you didn't mention really about the new ideas. You were talking about what your job and
Okay.
description entail.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah.
fine, that's fine. It is true. See, okay, so let's say I'm the boss, and an employee comes and tells me about ideas which he or she wants to implement.
Mhm.
Okay, now I know for sure that there are certain budget constraints where these ideas can't be implemented.
Yeah.
So I would tell them very clearly, see, this is an amazing idea, but then we are not there as far as implementing it on ground because of XYZ reasons. Okay. But
Mm.
since you've come out with this idea, it is something that tells me that you are forward looking, you're thinking. So you're not killing that person just because the idea got shot down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's very important. So if any of you are HR here or any of your bosses here, please do not shoot anybody who comes with an idea.
Mhm.
Consider it. If you've not been able to give a thought to it, tell them that you will get back to them. And please, for heaven's sake, get back to them. Maybe 1 day, 2 day, 3 day later, whatever it is, get back to them, tell them as to why that particular idea has got challenges in implementation. They will surely
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that also gives them that validation that the thinking
Yes.
in the right direction.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just take one more question, and so guys, please use the Q&A box, because this is what happens. I'll have to scroll down, scroll up, and see what questions we've got, right? Okay, so I know you said no excuses for being, you can't say that you're an introvert, but how do we master three V's? Being visible and all the three V's that you said. How does one master that, especially for an introvert?
Okay. So firstly, take that mind off that introvert is a negative human behavior. No,
Hmm.
we need introverts. In fact, in my life in HR, some of the best HR managers are introverts
Hmm.
because introverts have an amazing capability to listen to people.
Yes.
Okay, extroverts are generally chatterboxes. Okay, I mean, and just take that with a pinch of salt, but introverts listen. So, firstly, if you're that person, firstly, you have to be whatever you want to talk because you want to talk less. Whatever data information that you want to talk about yourself, put that all in metrics, put that in graphs, let your figures talk, let your presentation talk. Okay, how you did well for yourself when you took over, what was the state, how is it now? Put it in a graph. That's what I was talking about. That's the visual part of it. Okay,
Yes.
so so that is something that is something. And vocal, what is vocal is when you talk about. Now if you're hesitating to talk in front of a crowd, it's fine. You don't want to get up in front of a town hall and give out your point. Maybe you're not up to it. That's fine. But you can go up and walk up to the CEO, catch him when he's going, and tell him that can I take 10 seconds of yours, or can I take a minute of yours? Sure, he will say yes. Let's hear what you have to say. Convey it to him. You made yourself visible. He will never forget you,
Hmm.
right? That's what I meant by visible. In your team, when they're talking, when you feel people are able to, when there is a very heated discussion going on, and you know that when you make a point, it's not going to be heard. Don't have to make a point then, but make it a point when it is relevant, when the people are there to listen to you, and make it in your own style. Speak your own way. Don't try and imitate someone. Don't try and imitate your star. Don't do that. Just be yourself, and that is the visible portion of it. I hope
Got
I've covered all the three.
Yeah, I think their question was answered as well. And okay, we have one more question, and then we'll proceed with the session. Sometimes you're not given actual preferences or privileges. Yeah, I was forcing these questions in the beginning, but I think they're coming right now. Stating that the support team are not billable, I'm assuming billable. Example, even a broadband reimbursement is applicable for billable associates. Okay, so basically, certain privileges are not available when you are a cost center. I think that's the concern. How does one handle these things? They're just giving an example here about broadband reimbursement, but I'm sure there are also other concerns. So how does one
Okay,
really? Okay,
okay. Tell me one thing. Is it linked to appraisal, or is
yeah,
it
yeah,
a procedure that needs to be corrected? It's a procedural issue. It's not an appraisal issue.
issue. Yes, yes,
Appraisal is about your performance and how are you projecting it. That is where it is.
absolutely.
If your broadband bills are not being paid or it's not being referred to, that's more of something to do with what is a procedure that needs to be corrected. So that's beyond the scope of what we're discussing today.
Today,
Maybe
yeah.
you can reach out to me separately and I will handle it for that person.
Yeah, okay, maybe you can do that, whoever had the question here. So just an extension of what Prem mentioned some time back is about upskilling, is about making sure you have the right set of skills, right? So we've got a bunch of certifications and some long-term courses, like I mentioned in the beginning of the session, correct? So let me just take you through some certifications that we have. And let's say you are interested in any of the courses that we show you today, you can take a look at them individually and separately after this session as well. But let's say you would really like one of them and then you would like to pursue these courses, you can actually click a yes on the poll that I will launch in some time. Now, let me just talk about how you can actually navigate these certifications. And by the way, what we've also done is shared Prem's contact details for you guys to reach out, including his LinkedIn handles. You can also text him on LinkedIn. Okay, Alka, we'll just come to your question in a while. Let me just show you the certifications that we were talking about. Yeah. So quickly around what you can do is you can head to simplylearn.com and click on any particular category that interests you. Let's say project management. You want to become a project manager and do a PMP certification. You can head to certifications in this category, any of these, and check out the details, the cohort details, when they start and all of that. Let's say you want to pursue a career in cybersecurity and you would want to get started here and feel like, okay, maybe I would want to become an ethical hacker, right? Or let's say you want to become a Scrum Master. Let's say you want to pursue AWS or Azure certifications. Now your need or requirement, let's say, even let's say Six Sigma, right? So let's say you want to become an LSS black belt. So your requirement can be anything. Now you might have a certain career goal in mind and you would want to pursue a certification to upskill yourself to make sure you validate. I mean, your industry employers kind of know that you're skilled here, right? So you can head to simplylearn.com and find out, just click on a certain certification and find out details about these certifications. Okay. So one such example is obviously the PMP certification. I'm sharing this link here. Please share my screen. Isn't my screen visible? It is visible. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So this is what I was talking about. I think my screen is visible, right, Prem? It is visible here.
I'm not seeing your screen. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. I think you should let me just enable.
Should I stop sharing my screen?
Yeah. Oh, that's
Okay,
why.
now.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay, so what I was saying is, let's say you are interested in project management, you can check out any of the certifications that interest you, whether it's cybersecurity, you want to get started. I showed the example of ethical hacker. Your need or requirement can be anything. Okay, let's say if it's cloud computing or Scrum or quality management, anywhere, even in the IT service sector. So I just gave the example of PMP certification, but what you can do is just head to all courses, click on any category that you want to, you're interested in, and then you just head to the certification and check the details there and see if you are interested. Okay. Now let's say you are already clear on what you want to pursue. Yes. And you would want to talk to a learning advisor before you enroll. Okay. You can just click on a yes on the poll that I'm about to launch. Now, when you click on a yes, I'm still to launch on the poll. Yeah. So what happens when you click on a yes here, I'm sorry, is that a learning advisor calls you, okay, and explains you, just directs you to the right person, basically. Let's say you're interested in PMP or whatever your certification is. They direct you to the right person, and this person explains you the details. And hence, you can kind of enroll and make the decision to become a part of the upcoming cohort. Okay, right? So this is just to kind of add to what Prem said about upskilling yourself and becoming ready for what's coming up next, for making sure you grow, and also kind of put you on the path of learning, right? So remember in the beginning of the session, Prem said that your focus should be on your own growth, right? Rather than just thinking about, or maybe your employer's focus also should be on your own growth rather than thinking about, okay, what is my monetary benefit out of this appraisal? Yes. So I'm just going to leave the poll open for a while and we'll take a few more questions, I think. Okay, some questions around, okay, I still do good work. I don't get recognized. And how do I become a good storyteller, right? So maybe that's the key. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Even when you do good work, you're not a good storyteller. How does one handle that?
Okay. That's a very good question, and that's something which a lot of us actually go through in life.
Yeah.
So, fine. So let us say that you're one of those quiet workers, and
Mhm.
you do what is being told to you. You don't need supervision. You do what you're expected to do. You're doing that. Now you have to figure out how can this be conveyed as a review, at the end of the month. Okay, this is the kind of task that I have done. I just wanted to, you have a word with your boss, tell him, okay, I would like to review what I did in a month. Can I send it as an email? Or can I use one of those tools that I've noted down? If the company is using those tools, can I do that? And when you say that, and then you share it, so you say, this is what I've done in terms of metrics, and you increase it, and then you can say that from previous month to this month, or previous quarter to this quarter, this I've done. So you're projecting that. You're not talking about it very vocally, but you're just sharing it as part of what you have done. So you're doing it very subtly. Okay.
Mhm.
And then during the appraisal, you have copies of this, or you consolidate them, put them in a graph, learn how to do all of that, how to present it over the year, what you've done, so that you can take it as a sheet before you speak to them. So what
Yeah.
happens is that here is facts. You can't ignore it, right?
Mm.
These are facts, they can't ignore it. And therefore, you, without even you talking much, you actually conveyed what you want to convey. That's
Mhm.
what.
Mhm.
You're not being recognized. Remember, you're not being recognized because it's not visible. So you have to create that visibility, right? And let that be as part of reviews. That's the best way of handling that.
Got it. I think the key is also to practice on what they've done so far and kind of on to present. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. All right. Great. Great. Okay. So I'm not sure of how this transition can happen. So I'm not sure of your name as well. So someone heads a plant of ammonia plant operation and wants to understand how they can transition to data. How does that happen? Which course is better, data science or data analyst?
This is a question which that person, he's leading a plant. So he's
Mm,
obviously a plant supervisor or a manager, and he
yeah,
wants to know whether he should take a course which is data science or a data analyst.
yeah,
Am I right in that question?
yes,
So that's what he's trying to ask. Okay, if that is the case, yeah. So for him, depending on, he said it's ammonia, and which plant? That's what he said. I think he said ammonia, right?
yes,
Yeah, he said
ammonia
ammonia
plant.
plant operation. Okay, so it is not. It is more of an output production based kind of a data that he needs. So
Hmm,
therefore, it is more of a data analyst role that he has to do a course on,
got
not
it.
data science, because it's set. The plant is set. There are things that comes. There are things. Raw materials are there. There is an output. There is waste. There is what do you call combustions happening. All of that. So more of
Yeah,
an analyst role will help him out in that course.
correct, correct. Got it. All right. I think we'll also end the poll here about interest in the certification courses. So if you guys receive a call, please make sure you're clear about which course or which certification you're looking for so that the learning advisor can guide you here. Okay. Now, quick feedback time on how you liked our session. Yes. And what we could have done better, although I don't see that option, you will need that option, but anyway, you could let us know maybe what you want to see next, and if you want Prem to do a session with us, or let's say on a similar topic, whatever your thoughts are, please let us know through this poll that I've launched now. Yeah. Also, let me know your thoughts on the chat if you would like to share anything about what you learned, what you will be using in the appraisal cycle for sure. If there's anything like that, maybe let me know on the chat. What was the biggest takeaway for you? If you could also let me know on the chat.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting to find
Yeah,
out what's.
actually, because there were many, many, many takeaways around. how you should speak, how you should conduct yourself, and of course, on the core aspect of how your skills or how your job should be done. I mean, how your job should be showcased, and what your focus should be in your role as well, right? Let us know your takeaways. What are your learnings from the session? Or would you only want to give feedback or use the poll? It can be anything, just a one word, yeah, 3V was useful, yes. You get redundant, but what did you learn? What will you use? Latest strategies, okay. Documentation is what you felt. Yes, the star, definitely. Yes, I think
Yeah,
that is
great to hear that. Yes.
correct. Definitely use the 3Vs. Amazing. What else? The game-changing tips? Yeah,
Yeah, right.
so that, right? Strategies, documentation, methods for appraisal, discussion with your manager. Create, yes. Make sure you're visible when you're not seen the OKR tip. Become more visible. Not to be defensive. I think that's a great point, right? Prem,
Yeah,
I
not to
think
be
you mentioned
defensive.
that.
Yes, it's
Yes,
amazing. Yes, that is
an
certainly a big.
amazing quality to have. Yes, yes. Great, great, great. So it's glad to see that all of you never defend yourself. Okay, to improve documentation, review performance. But also remember that you need to align your job role towards make sure you drive impact in the role that you are in, right? For me, I think that was the biggest takeaway. Keep yourself updated. Yeah, build a personal portfolio. Definitely. Yes. Yes. Know what's happening around in the industry. Continuous learning definitely helps. It tells that you're committed to the job, right? To be time bound, Pooja, yes, we try our best to be time bound, but sometimes what happens is because of learners, the questions that we have and the eagerness to learn, we just kind of go beyond the stipulated times. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, we'll keep that in mind from the next time. Great. Thank you so much for sharing your learnings, your takeaways, and also your feedback, right? So I'm just going to end the poll right here. And Prem, do you also want to share maybe a quick the QR code that you had shared a while back? So maybe if you can
Yeah,
share
just
that, people can reach
in
out to
that.
you very,
Oh,
very
yeah.
quickly.
I'll just share that. Just 1 second.
Yes, 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 yes. Definitely, Charmi, we would do more such sessions in the future around improving your career and all of that. Definitely. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
my QR code, you can take a screenshot of this with it.
yes,
Oh,
a
this.
screenshot
Oh,
of
okay,
his
fine. This is
contact
good enough.
details.
Yeah, just take a screenshot of this. This is good enough.
Yes, and I remember the webinar certificate. So I'm also going to launch the certificate poll, but make sure you do that in the next 2-3 minutes because we're about to wrap the session. Please enter your name in the poll that I've launched. And Prem has shared his contact details as well. Please make sure that you reach out to him for questions. Do not spam him with a lot of questions. Keep a structured way of asking what you really want to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So last time when we did, people did reach out with very meaningful questions. So I most gladly will take it from there. I'm also reachable on WhatsApp, and people from the Middle East on bottom, they can reach me on bottom too. Yeah, so that's fine.
great. So what I'm also doing is I'm sharing the recording of the event here. The one that we streamed on LinkedIn. Okay, I'm just closing the chat just for a while so
Yeah.
that you don't miss out on the link. You can revisit the recording. Someone said they just joined, they missed the entire session. Well, the session was really insightful, so I urge you to look at the recording. Unfortunately, we weren't able to stream on YouTube, you'll find a recorded version of the whole session tomorrow. And you also do that on the YouTube channel. But for now, please use the recording of the LinkedIn stream. Okay. Yes. And are people entering their names? Yes, they are. Okay. Amazing. Now, I'm also going to share the link to our WhatsApp community. Okay. Now, what does this WhatsApp community really have? Just alerts about the upcoming webinars. Now, our webinars are not just limited to career improvement, but also around the different categories that you saw, the different tech domains that you saw. Right. Of course, we would love to do more such webinars that will help you in your career as well. We've kept that in mind, and we'll do more of them in the upcoming months. I'm just sending the link to the WhatsApp community while you guys finish entering your names. Yeah, please make sure you join that in case you would want to receive alerts about our upcoming webinars. Yeah. Now, are we done entering names? If yes, I think we'll close down the poll as well. It was great hosting you, Prem. Great listening to your advice. I think each piece of advice was valuable. I'm not able to, again, tell between the pieces of advice that you gave, which is better than the other, or everything was just amazing, and how you put the thoughts out in a way that even a fresher would understand how they can deal with appraisals and how they should kind of conduct themselves in a workplace. So I think the session was really, really insightful personally for me, and I'm sure the learners agree here as well. I'm just going to open up the chat because I'm sure they have things to share. But any last thoughts, closing thoughts before we end?
No, thank you so much, Aparna. And firstly, I am very, very happy and grateful to the audience because they were very interactive. They just responded the moment we set a question out, and then so that helped us keep connected, although it's a virtual platform. So that was one. And secondly, I just wanted to leave with just this thought that whatever we do in life, it has to be spoken about.
Yeah.
And in the work, we do amazing work, but a lot of people who matters don't know about it. So how we reach that out to them is entirely up to us. It's not anybody else's responsibility. So take it from that commitment and showcase your work. Nobody's asking you to lie, nobody's asking you to bluff, but just put it the way it is supposed to be put, and you will do amazing. A lot of people don't know how good you are, frankly speaking. As a head of HR, I realized that when I was there, a lot of good people I never realized until and unless I went and sorted out from them. So please make sure that you take the responsibility of projecting yourself. Those 3 V's. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Great,
Thank you so
great.
much.
Thank you so much, Prem, once again. I'll see you once again, maybe
Sure.
in another webinar very, very soon. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Pooja, as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.